So there is this gap at the heart of business. It's been there for a long time, and it relates to understanding how do humans and their collective behavior drive performance, and how do we use the data that we have generated, the huge digital footprint about people, to actually close that gap. The people impact gap is that gulf between the level of performance that businesses are seeking and the fuel for that performance, which is in their raw data, and that inability to bring those two things together. What's lacking and what has been really hard is what's described as the last mile problem, which is getting that insight into the hands of the right user at the right time. Where generative AI comes in is it's really, really good at listening to a question, interpreting that language, bringing back ideas, answers, and specific guidance for that individual. So what GenAI does is collapse that distance, where the person can simply ask a question like, what's my turnover rate? How does that compare to the rest of my company? Is that higher for women or men? Is that higher for my high performers? Is compensation having an impact on that? And you can follow that question string, which is how a human thinks about unpacking those questions. This is a conversation with a piece of technology purpose-built to actually deliver that insight. You can see instantly how that's going to close the people impact gap. V is Visier's conversational AI digital assistant. It allows you to interact with the data you have about your people and your business in a conversational frame, asking questions, getting answers back. And V specifically does three things. First of all, it's not trained on your customer data. If you're paying attention at all to any of the legislation, one of the likely elements of that regulation will be that LLMs have to be trained on an unbiased data set. The second piece is it's built to respect security. Again, lots of people believe that you just simply dump the data into the LLM and off you go. Well, HR data has a huge and way higher level of privacy around it than any other data. You have to be GDPR compliant, so you've got to be able to take stuff out. You've got levels of private information. Some belongs to the individual, some belongs to business. It's always quite mixed. So V interacts with our data set through our security protocol. So you don't have to worry about deploying it and having it say, what's the CEO's salary? You just know, like, what's the CEO's salary is going to be the first question. V will say, I'm sorry, I can't tell you that, because security is in place. And the third piece, this whole piece of hallucination, we've built our return system so that it won't hallucinate. It will either tell you it doesn't know, or it will only tell you the things that are known within the data set. Very quickly, V is becoming the smartest people analytics co-pilot on the planet. When the impact gap narrows, the business value is enormous. And it's also accumulative. So one of the really simple components is when somebody can use something like a digital assistant to ask about their resignation rate, to ask about how that's impacting high performers, to ask about whether that's better or worse than last year, whether it's better or worse than the benchmark. You actually have that knowledge right at the edge of the business where all of those decisions are being made every day, all the time. So amplification of that impact, because it's across hundreds and hundreds of managers.